Imagine spending a whopping $80 on a video game only to wake up one day and realize you don't actually own it. That's the future a lot of PlayStation fans think is coming. And after Sony's latest announcement, the internet is in full-on panic mode. Let's talk about it. PlayStation just posted an article stating they will be shifting away from physical discs to online digital games starting January 2028. Now, this got people losing their minds. Lots of people appear to be caught off guard. Meanwhile, I thought everybody could see this coming from a mile away. Everything leading up to this moment were signs that they were going in this direction, if we're being honest. According to data, despite most sales in the US heavily favoring the PS5 disc edition, more recent console purchase data shows that the digital model accounts for about 45% of all units sold in the past few years. So ask yourself, what does this mean for Sony? It could mean if they can get those people who buy disc over to digital, they can spend less money on hardware and essentially have a much bigger margin for profit. Now, this change don't really affect me because I jumped ship a while ago after some weird interaction happened with my account being locked and I couldn't access any of my games. Mind you, this was all random. So I couldn't access any of my games or speak with a representative with common sense. So I was like, hey, deuces. But that's another story. I moved over to PC where games are sold mostly digital and honestly at a much more affordable price. So if there's a game I want and it's across platforms, I'm most likely gonna grab it on PC for various reasons. But although I haven't bought a physical copy of a video game in years, doesn't mean I can't understand the frustration of those gamers who exclusively play on console. I mean, that situation with me being unable to access my digital games on PlayStation could literally happen to anybody on any platform. So I understand the fear there. Also, the idea of paying $75 for a game that you would likely never completely own just feels like an infringement on consumers' rights to own what they've purchased. Now, there are some ways that Sony can ensure people that they still have control over games they purchase and help shift this thing into a much smoother transition. Because I don't think digital games are inherently wrong or bad. There are pros and cons, but if the cons outweigh the pros, that's when people begin to question, who is this change really for? Anyway, I'm Jay with the Beard. Hit like, and if you're new here, consider hitting subscribe. Leave a comment, let me know that you sub so I can personally welcome you to the gang. So PlayStation posted this statement here today. As consumer preferences and broader entertainment industry continues to shift away from physical discs to digital, physical game disc production for all new games releasing on PlayStation console will be discontinued starting January 2028. Following this date, new games will be available on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital format only. This transition has no impact on games that has already released or will be releasing prior to January 2028 in disc format. This is a natural direction for Sony Interactive Entertainment to adapt to consumer trends as the general preference for digital media significantly outspaces physical discs. This transition will enable us to align more closely with how most of our community prefers to access and play games today. So why is PlayStation making this change? Well, according to Sony, it's because consumers' habits have changed. They say more people prefer to buy digital than physical, so they're simply adapting to where the market is heading. Now, do I believe this? I don't know. I would need numbers to prove this, but I can say for myself personally, I do buy digital games because it's just more convenient and it don't take up much real estate in my house. But let's be honest, for Sony, this isn't just about convenience. Digital games also save Sony money, as we stated before. There's no cost to manufacture discs, ship them to retailers, or deal with used game markets. On top of that, every digital sale gives Sony more control over pricing, distribution, and the overall ecosystem. So while Sony calls it adapting to consumer trends, many gamers see it as a move to better benefit Sony.
PlayStation announced the end of discs, but I feel like everyone's focusing on it for the wrong reasons. Everyone's sad about nostalgia and their collection and this, that, or the other thing, but nobody's talking about the affordability crisis this would cause for gaming. No discs mean no trade-in, no secondhand market, no lending to a friend, nothing at all. The cheapest way to get into this hobby, that entire market has now been eliminated. Here's what also really scares me about this. A disc you own, a download is just a rental that they can take back at any time. Listen, I understand the vast majority of people buy digital. Physical physical is a small slice of the market nowadays, but I feel like it was on a rebound. And also, like, just because you don't like the choice or you don't like the option of physical games doesn't mean they should just completely remove it altogether. More options for consumers is better, even if you don't participate directly. Hardware price increases, no more used or secondhand market. GTA 6 is a code in a box. Everything we're watching is just dying. It is so dystopic. It makes me sick.
Now, amidst of everybody posting their frustrations, there have been some people getting off a few jokes about how some retailers are handling the news.
Y'all killing me with this. I gave y'all 30 years of my career.
Robert.
30 years of my career. Y'all trying to kill me. You're killing me, man.
Now, GameStop is one of those places that should have been out of business a long time ago. Their place only rips you off and lowball you, so the idea of seeing them cry like R. Kelly is pretty hilarious. I ain't gonna lie, bro. When I first saw this, I was on the ground, okay? Now, this one guy had a proposal similar to my initial idea. Actually, a thought I had for quite some time now.
Yo, this is going to be the biggest news story of the day, whether you're in film, media, news, entertainment, gaming, all of that. Physical discs for new games are being discontinued on the PlayStation. Who could have guessed that this was happening? Definitely not me, especially after Rockstar Games is saying that there's going to be a little slip that'll have your code for GTA 6 when the game first comes out. Let me play devil's advocate for a second, and I mentioned this in a previous post, guys. Music, movies have all digitized. Remember when we used to have CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays? There's a reason why these companies have stopped taking years of their time, literally physical years of their time, to upload this media onto discs that then goes to retailers and distributors and has to be sent out. These games are getting bigger. Some of these games are like 200 gigs, 300 gigs. Imagine throwing that onto a CD. Imagine compressing it, then throwing it onto a CD, then shipping it out, and then expecting third parties to ship that everywhere. These guys want to centralize this. Now, the real problem here is, the main problem here is digital distribution and digital ownership. A lot of people are going to give Sony and PlayStation a lot of backlash for this because they want to own their games. They want to own their goods. And I will say they might not want to own them necessarily, but if you buy something that's a digital game, you should have the right to then sell it or transfer it as you please. I think that's the real problem here. So there will be a lot of people crying that there's no more physical discs and that we're losing ownership. But I say we should move into the age of new digital ownership, where you should be able to sell on an open marketplace or give away or trade, and games not be bound to accounts. Let me know what you think of my take. It might be a little controversial, but you're about to see this news all over the timeline. I'm in my PlayStation Gym Jams today. Check this out. Yes, sir. Anyway, I'm going to end the video before it gets too cringe. This is massive.
Now, I will be careful saying that people are crying over this change, because honestly, people have valid complaints. Does Sony have a point? Yeah, a little bit, because games are becoming too large to just throw on a disc. But people have a right to question whether they'll actually own a product that they have bought. Now, this guy has a great point. Since these games are going to be sold digitally, there should be a way you can sell them once you no longer have interest in them. Do I think Sony will actually do this? No. Because essentially what this does is limit Sony's opportunity to capitalize off there being no buy-sell trade market for PlayStation 5 games. We have to remember that this is a corporation. They care more about making money than pleasing consumers. That's just what it is. But anyway, let me know how y'all feel about this down in the comments. Do y'all think Sony is tripping? Are y'all rocking with them or nah? As always, I appreciate y'all for stopping by. Drop a hype if you're on mobile, and I will catch y'all on the next one.